Haram Aghora Papa Samharam Ekabilvam Are Ekabilvam Shivarpanam. Perhaps, my friends, you are struggling in some areas of your life at this moment because people may have come before you, your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors. Maybe they have made some choices that were not very favorable. You see, many times you can look back and see the results. You can see the results of those choices somewhere in your family line and see that it is important that we recognize that what has happened and that we do not passively accept these negative patterns in our lives at this moment. Dear friends, some people say, well, Panditji, this is just the way that I am. This poverty, this sickness has been in my family for years. This behavioral pattern, this ignorance, like this, Panditji, this is what has been handed down, and that's why I am the way that I am. Dear friends, this morning on Shanti Vandana, we're reminded about the blessings of Bhagavan Shiva to break free of those negative things, those negative strongholds that may have been handed down from generation to generation. Today we thank our ancestors for contributing to who we are today. But dear friends, our ancestors were human beings. Our parents are human beings. We are human beings. And therefore, we're all susceptible to making mistakes. And therefore, if there are generational missteps of the past that you are now aligned with, dear friends, today I'm reminding you to break those glass ceilings over our heads and allow ourselves and your next generation, your mothers, fathers, you are listening this morning, Ajis, Ajas, Nanis, Nanas, you are listening this morning. And today it is not too late to break those negative trends that may have been handed down from generations prior to us. Today, as we touch the feet of Bhagavan Shiva, I remind you that you need to rise up this morning and do something differently about it. You see, it may have been there for years, but the good news is it doesn't have to stay there. You, my friends, the one who is on the other side of this broadcast this morning, can be the one to put a stop to those negative things. You can be the one to choose to live a life that is blessed as opposed to a life that may have been cursed. You see, over the last few days, my Aja has been very, very sick. And when my Aji passed away couple of years ago, I was always so much reminded that sometimes it takes a death in a family to bring out the best in people. And sometimes it is the same death that brings out the worst in others. And dear friends, sometimes people make commentaries that, that's the way the family is. That's the way things are. That's the way it's always been. But my friends, be that as it may, that doesn't mean that's the way it should continue to be. Dear friends, you have to understand that just as the strong physical characteristics that we have inherited, the facial patterns, the physical features, the physical way, the way that we look, that may have been inherited. But the negative things in our family's line or our bloodline, so to speak, that will also continue from generation to generation until someone like you rise up and put a stop to some of those negative things. Dear friends, Bhagavan Shiva gives you that strength. Bhagavan Shiva blesses you because while we have, when we celebrate Indian Arrival Day in this part of the world, for those of you, your ancestors came from Bharat, India, or from Africa, or from China. But this morning, I'm sure the majority, based on the survey data, the majority of the individuals listening to Shanti Vandana this morning, your forefathers may have come from Bharat, India. And it is important to appreciate that some of the struggles that your forefathers would have experienced, how you operate today when we celebrate Indian Arrival Day, I would like to say this very emphatically this morning, that how we behave today, it is not out of duty and obligation to our forefathers, but how we behave today, it is the obligation and duty to our children and our grandchildren. Dear friends, not because there may have been shortcomings of the past means that we must continue to propagate them. You see, similarly, many of the things we struggle with today can be traced back to somebody in our family. You would say that person gave it to us. Trijanma Papa Samharam, please chant with me. Eka Bilvam Shiva Arpanam. You see, that mantra Eka Bilva means Eka Bilvam, one bay leaf. Shiva, Bhagwan, Arpanam, I offer it to you. Trijanma Papa Samharam. May this offering, Bhagavan Shiva, may you be pleased that some of the negative things of my past be rid from my life. You're listening to the program Shanti Vandana, the first, the finest, on 103 FM.